Hello, hello, welcome to Leap Taken. Here at Leap Taken, I talk all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, everything else in between. And today I'm going to talk about my personal favorite witchcraft tools. Now, I know I did a video in the past about witchcraft tools and what you need or what in general for everyone else, but I am sharing my own personal practice, my tools, my main tools, the main things that I use. Now, of course, after I record this, I'll probably remember some other things. I'll try to include that separate if I can remember before editing this video. But I have, my practice changes. It's an undulation with this. I don't stay one way all the time. I don't do the same things all the time. It kind of switches up. Sometimes I veer off into totally different routines and rituals and things like that. So with that being said, let me go ahead and get into some of my favorites. So I'm going to start with one of my absolute favorites. And I may have talked about this before. This is my Athame. Many years in my practice, I wanted this. I wanted something like this real bad. I have been always wanting this, especially when I started off calling myself Wiccan and practicing Wicca. I really wanted all the things. So this was gifted to me by a very special someone in my life, and I will be forever grateful for this. And I actually use my Athame in my practice. So it has it's engraved here. It's got some imagery on here and on the back on the blade. And I adore this. It's everything I always wanted. So I got my Athame, and I legit actually use this in my rituals and in my spell work. I love this so much. I'm so grateful that it was gifted to me. I don't know if I eventually would have got around to buying one, but I don't know, it's something special when something's gifted to you. Maybe it's just me. Because this is just me. They got it right. This is very me. So, yeah, my Athame. Wands. So, I don't use this one as much. This is the first wand. Again, this was also gifted to me by a different person. But this was the very first wand that I ever received. It was, it was purchased at a Renaissance fair. In Florida, and specifically in Boca Raton. I can tell you specifically where, but yeah. But this is something I made for myself. Ooh, I gotta get that back down here. But yeah, I made this. It's gnarly and cool and interesting, and I love it. And it's got the crystal tip on here, but I made this, so I love this one as well. But I actually use those in my practice. The other thing that I wanted to point out, I painted these, by no means am I a professional artist or anything, but I use these from Dollar Tree, by the way. This is a great craft. So I have the direction and what this represents, the symbol. So this is water and west. Then I have here south. This represents fire. And then I have east, and this represents air. And then, of course, north, which represents earth. So, these are just simple little things that I actually painted and with these symbols to cast circles with. So because they're big enough, just a little bit bigger than a postcard, or about the size of a postcard. Essentially, I just put them around in the directions of, corresponding to it. And I use those if I don't do anything else, if I don't have any representation of, the elements or the directions, then I just place these down, or I place them on top of it. But these are actually, I use in my practice quite often. Love having that. That was a really smart idea for me because I am directionally challenged. So sometimes it helps me to remember because usually I keep them out in this space that I'm in now, but I had to put them away. So, until I'll have to pull up the compass on my phone and look, which ties me to another tool. My phone my phone is another tool for magic and witchcraft, things like that. My phone is a gateway to apps that can tell me the moon phases that we're in, to astrological information, to weather, to apps that help me as far as keep information, notes app, any type of notes app, whatever you're using. Same thing like with iPad, iPhone, or phone, because I just used to have an iPhone. But anyway, but you get my point. It is information. It's where I can get more information. So I consider this a tool to access that information about magic and all that. So it is a tool of a witch, of this witch anyway. I don't see how it cannot be at this point. Speaking of tools and information, tarot, oracle, which let me get my oracle deck. This is one of my faves right now. Magical Spirit Oracle, the Brooms of Youth. I love these cards, and I love this deck right now. It's one of my favorites. I keep it out more so than the other ones that are on my shelf. Like I rotate, but right now this is it for me. But I like to use tarot. One, as someone who reads tarot literally for a living, and also for just my own personal practice of reaching out into the spirit realm when I want to work with a spirit, a deity, ancestors. Now, I don't always use the same cards for those different activities. So that's an interesting point, how the tool itself can vary. So tarot cards, yes, is a tool, a most used tool for me in my practice, but I don't always use the same deck or the same decks for different things. There's certain decks. I have dedicated a certain tarot deck to working with specific ancestors, or in general ancestors. When I'm doing certain types of workings, I feel called to use a certain type of deck. So or oracle deck. Not just tarot, but it varies. So it's a powerful tool to use as a witch. Divination in general, but I would take it a step further. I use, and it's something I know my coven and I have worked on, charm boards. I have one that I've created, personal for me. I laminated and everything and created my own little dice with that. So I do like that for divination. So divination in general, so I use that. I use mostly tarot and oracle cards, pendulum. I will use, let's see, I have my own, I guess they're considered runes, my Mika's witches runes. Again, I use the wooden cubes and I've put symbols and things like that on them. So I'll use that as a form of divination as well. I like to get specific. Oh, my own, make your own cards. So I have a video on this. I adore these. I can't say this enough. But it was a labor of love. But yeah, I've made my own custom Halloween Cottage Witch Oracle cards. So basically what these cards do, and again, I have a whole video on it. It has my logo, Leave Taken, a Magical Lifestyle. So they have like things to do as a cottage witch. So like mason jar magic. Use mason jars for storing magical herbs, spells, or intentions. Seal your desires within and let them manifest. Cleansing, smoke, and so forth. So like, it's actionable steps that I could do. Me being who I am, sun sign being a fire sign, I'm very action oriented. So these were great. I rounded the edges so I don't cut myself. So this, and laminated them. So anyway, this was such a fun craft project, and I love that I've done it. I still haven't cut a hole out and so I can put these on a ring, but I'll get there. So far we're up athame, wands, your phone or some sort of device that connects you to the internet, and apps, tarot, oracle cards, including a combination of store-bought, your own divination tools. Start learning to create your own. You can get more connected that way. Moving on. So the other things, and if you know me, if you've watched this channel, you write everything down. Magical journals, Book of Shadows, grimoires, journals, all of that. Write it down. Put all your stuff. And this is this is my Cottage Witchery Book of Shadows. I mean, I say it's complete because all the pages, but I'll always add stuff in. But I love this book dearly. Write your stuff down. Magical record keeping, I cannot tell you how important that is overall to my practice. It brings me joy to create pages and share them, but also for me to just create them and have them. I was someone who would say, "Oh, I'm not really artsy. I don't have that. I'm not talented that way." I used to think that way about myself, and who. I can be anything I want to be. I'm a witch, okay? We're just going to end that there. So if I say I'm an artsy, artist person, then I guess I am. It's all, it's all subjective. It's what I think. It's what, it doesn't really matter what anybody else says. And if I choose to upload it on a video and share it, well, you could think it's, not that great, or I don't appear to be a professional artist. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect me and my process at all. So do your thing. Write in these books. Don't let a blank page freak you out. Don't be afraid you're going to mess something up. This was a book that I converted into my own personal Book of Shadows, and I loved every moment. It was a labor of love. It took me a very long time to get I set up all the pages first, then I went and actually put the information, and I love having this. I'm actually ready to start another one, but that's another conversation for another day. So yes, this is just one of many. If you've seen me at all, I have several magical records for deities and such and everything, and I'm building others, including on my iPad. I have one there. Planners. Separate from the Book of Shadows and the grimoires, I also like using a planner. I have a coven planner. If you weren't aware, I'm in a coven. So I have a planner that I use specifically for, as my role as High Priestess, for keeping track of things. I mean, there's a calendar, there's stuff that has to get done. Planning rituals, planning events, and so forth. So yeah, planners are my bestest of friends. I love having things to write, places to write and things like that. Now, I'm going to hold this up. This is actually filled in. This is something I recently talked about on a live that I got, but this is a pre-printed, pre-made replica of the Charmed Book of Shadows, but it has blank pages in the back. Honestly, I'm counting this as a magical tool because this brings me so much joy, and it's something I've always wanted, and I've just envisioned being able to add my own pages. So I'm so grateful that they give you the blank pages in the back so that I can add on, and this will give me an opportunity to sort of flex my creativity a little bit, and try to keep in theme with the book. So here's my chance to, pretend I'm a real artist or whatever I'm telling myself, so I can recreate imagery like this, but with new information. So this is a tool. Also, a notebook in general. So let's just say this was blank, okay? So, and I do have notebooks like this. I just don't physically have it near me, but I have a very similar book to this. I like having books that look like it's something, like it's a magical journal. It looks like it might be a grimoire of sorts, of Book of Shadows. And I like to just jot notes in there. Sometimes, I can't get to my, I'm not ready to put it officially into my official magical record keeping, and I just need to jot notes down, and I'm kind of planning things out. I like to have notebooks around for that purpose, or some people call it a commonplace notebook, also like notes from a book. Now, doing this on a notes app on my iPad is actually another tool back to the iPhone or iPad. It's so helpful, but sometimes I also like to handwrite. So I'm just going to say a notebook just for keeping notes, separate from like an organized things, kind of just like a brain dump as well. Yeah, notebooks, journals, planners. Like seriously, the things that I use all the time in my practice. Now, let's get to some other stuff. I want to talk about incense. So I use stick incense, but I love a good cone incense. I use stick incense quite often, but I'm just going to show this one. This particular brand I like. This is Vanilla Rose. This scent goes crazy. Like, it's very intense. I usually have to crack a window when I open it, but it will smell up most of the home that I'm in right now. But I love using this, and I keep little herbs, and I'll put the incense thing on top, or the cone on top, and I use this cute little, I don't even know where I got this from. I've had this for years. I have no idea where I got it from, but I love it. And I love burning incense. I like burning incense for a multitude of reasons. As a practicing cottage witch, it's a big part of my practice to do smoke cleanse, and I like to use incense in general, cones, sticks, what have you, to do that, to burn. It cleanses, it purifies. Sometimes it's not about, or banishing, yes, but for me, it's more about inviting in a certain vibration, a certain energy into the home. Also, like I said, to cleanse the space or just set a mood. Sometimes you just want to set a mood. Also for divination. When I was a little kid, I used to always, my mom would burn incense all the time. And I would just sit and look at the smoke as it curled up and try to kind of like clouds. If you look at clouds and try to make out a shape, I would do the same thing with the incense smoke. And that's something I honestly look to do today. Sometimes I'll just sit here and just kind of chill out and look at that. But incense is a must-have magical tool for me. Another is tea light candles. So tea light candles, I use these probably more than any other candles, followed very closely by chime candles. But tea light candles, and I'm just going to show you, I haven't burnt one already, but I use this has been used a lot, but I use holders like this to hold my chime candles. But tea light candles, probably candles obviously in general, but tea lights are the #1 tool that I use. I buy packs all the time. One of my favorite places to purchase tea light candles is IKEA. Now, most people, oh, you can go to get them at the Dollar Tree. I don't want the ones from the Dollar Tree. They're thinner. I like the kind at IKEA because they're not as flat. They have scented ones. There's more color variation. I trust it. It doesn't smell funky when I burn them. IKEA. And they're not very expensive. It's like a couple bucks to buy a large pack of tea light candles. And they have unscented as well. Okay, so recapping: wands, athame, tarot, oracle cards, journals, planners, notebooks for magical record keeping, incense, tea light candles, cauldrons. Now I've got cauldrons aplenty. This one is actually not for burning. This is decorative, but I'm going to use it not just for decoration, but I won't be burning anything in here. It'll be ceremonial. But where I actually burn this little cauldron, it has this little wire on here, which I keep. It's I don't know what I've done to this, but anyway, I've had this for years. I burn herbs in here almost all the time. This is kind of the cauldron, and this is the first one I ever purchased, and I still use it. I have a larger one that I could easily be using, and I do use that sometimes, but this is my tried and true. I want to tell you I'm going to stop using it, but why would I when it works? It's well worn, and I use it quite often. I use it quite often. I burn herbs. I'll use a charcoal disc most times with that one. It fits perfectly. And I'll burn herbs. Sometimes I just burn herbs directly in here. Pieces of petition paper, hair, whatever I'm burning. I use that cauldron for it. So I'm going to tell you, a cauldron, a fire-safe cauldron, is a must-have magical tool for me. I use that a lot. I got some pyro tendencies. Blame it on being an Aries. That fire sign element comes out because I got to have some fire somewhere in my practice. I love a good candle. I love fire. but I like it. I like it. Okay, moving on. Let's get into some other nitty gritty stuff. Salt. Now this is black salt. This is actually not like black salt that I made, but like it's Hawaii. What is it? Not Himalayan, it's Hawaii, black Hawaiian salt or something that I purchased. I purchased a large batch of this, but instead of me, creating black salt, I have this, and I like this. I like this a lot. So I use this more so than I do white salt for casting a circle. This will stand in for the element of earth, and salting water. I like it. If I use enough of it, it will turn black, and I don't know, I get my kicks off of that. So yeah, salt is a common tool that I use for various things. Along with that, oils. So I have oils like such, where you have it in a dropper. Love this sort of stuff. This is Hecate oil, by the way, that I actually purchased, but I've created my own. But I wanted to show this one because it's so pretty, so pretty. And essential oils are another thing that I use as a magical tool. I use essential oils a lot as the basis for oils. I use it, for the purpose of anointing candles, aromatherapy, all sorts of stuff. In potions and such, I use essential oils. I use oils in general for anointing candles, anointing objects, consecrating things, blessing. I use it for myself on my actual skin. Some oils are meant for that. I use oils with the intention of maybe even pouring out onto something else, or to be burned, for the scent otherwise. But yeah, oils are common for me. I have a good amount, and I try to keep stock around every Samhain, the Witch's New Year, and go through and dump anything that I hadn't used from the previous Samhain up until that point. And I'll dump it, and I like to reuse those bottles and droppers. And you can just, clean them with hot soapy water. You can even boil them, if you want to get them completely clean of everything. On that vein, Florida water, rose water as well is something that I use. So Florida water, rose water, I don't have any right near me, but these are staples, I think, for a lot of witches as far as tools that you use. And I'm counting these things as tools because I use them to do things with, to facilitate things. So yeah, Florida water for sure, and rose water, like I said, is a common thing. I also create sprays, herbal sprays, for various, to attract or to repel, vinegars as well. What is it? 4 Thieves vinegar. Is it 5 or 4? 4 Thieves, right? Is it 5? I don't know. I can't remember, but y'all know what I'm talking about. I use that as well that's more to repel, banish type thing. We talked about candles already, but I wanted to point this out. It's not common for me to buy store-bought spelled candles or candles with intention on it. I don't do it very often, but I recently purchased these, and I just love the size. I have been burning the one that says Cottage Witch specifically, with that intention. That's actually in my kitchen. This is a kitchen witch one. I'm waiting to, finish that other one, and then I'll go ahead and use this one next. But I want to it is a tool. Using store-bought or, someone else prepared the candle for me, type candles, in my, just burning them with intention, because you could just burn a candle. I go to Bath and Body Works. Not every candle I put some sort of intention in purposefully. But when I purposefully do that with a store-bought, when I'm aligning with the purpose that, as advertised, I don't do that very often because I don't, it's hard to really trust places. So, yeah, I got that from Inked Goddess Creations. I felt very comfortable trusting the products that I purchased from them. So anything already spelled, tools and things of that nature, I really got to trust it. Where am I getting this from? What is it? Because otherwise, it's it's a gamble, right? So spelled candles, prepared candles and things like that. I consider by someone else outside of me, I consider those a magical tool as well. Um, Crystals. Crystals. So crystals are part. I have a ongoing crystal grid, and I'm ready to redo that. Actually, next month, between now and next month, I like to do a crystal grid where I sort of set an intention and activate it. And I like to keep that in a window seal. It's being charged by moon energy, solar energy. Yeah, so I like to do that. But crystals, that's one of the ways that I use crystals. I use these in a myriad of ways. I use it to charge items, to cleanse or, realign my own energy as well. Or if I'm working with someone else. Crystals. Jars. I don't know one witch who doesn't have a thing with jars. So bottles, glass bottles, and jars. Jars are life to me. So this was and will be a candle. More about that later. But anyway, yeah, these are some shells in here. But this, in general, just jars of all sorts, whether it's purposely just empty jars, that you reuse or buy brand new batch jars. Jars are a big part of my practice. I use those much more. I probably thought I would be using jars for sometimes just temporarily, for potions, sometimes again for making some sort of like candle for, there's, for intentionally never opening and sealing, things of that nature. I use jars quite often. Another tool that was actually gifted to me was this Hecate statue. So Hecate is a big part of my practice. For a long time, I did not work with any sort of deity. And then I did. And then I did. There's a whole story about that. But anyway, I'm very grateful to work with this deity. And since then, and when I say work with, it's not that I've never contacted or been contacted with a deity before, because I have. It's just that I didn't include it in my practice overall. Now, of course, that's totally different. Excuse me. Now it's very different. But this is a tool. I like to have physical representation, whether it's this or I have like a picture or something I print off the internet and framed. I think it's important in my practice to have that. It's just a visual thing, as with anything else. And it's not that the statue comes to life and it's talking to me, but it's just something to kind of divert my eyes to when I'm working with that energy, with that archetype. Does that make sense? But yeah, I'm someone who likes to have some sort of physical, like a figurine, a statue or something, a picture. It helps me a lot to connect. The other thing is, and this is something new, I have altar cloths, but I'm going to share this one because it's new and pretty. But altar cloths. I like having these for when I want to transition a space, like where I'm sitting right now. I'm filming this video, everything's fine. But when I want to do something, some work, when I want to, work and just, manipulate energy, do something energetically, to me, it kind of sets the sacred space. I have this one, I have a small one as well that I use. I have others around here also, but I like using these it's the change of, I don't know, of the space itself. It's something about that. It changes it for me. And especially if I want to do a reading or something like that, I've been getting more into just more of the ceremonial side of things and just layering and just having more of the things. I think that's pretty much it. As far as my must-have magical tools, I was looking around to make sure I didn't forget something, but no, that's pretty much it. Of course, in my practice, I use different things things come up and, I'll use another tool or things like that. But these are tools that are very common in my practice as of now, as of late, and I feel are beneficial to me. These are like my most used magical tools. So, yeah, that's it. That's it. This is how it works for me. I know there is conversation sometimes that when you get to a certain stage of your witchcraft, you don't need all of this stuff. You don't need, all of the pomp and circumstance. You can just, use your mind and connect. And, I agree. You don't need anything necessarily, but I want it and I like it. And I think I have been really knocking it out of the park with this whole witchcraft things, and these things help. So, I do think, that sometimes when people are saying that, it is because they don't have access to the things that they really want. And that's okay to tell yourself that. I think it's a little problematic when you're kind of pushing that on other people. If you don't have all these things and you're doing just fine, so be it. But if you kind of want these things, not necessarily these exact things, but, for yourself, I remember being in that stage. And I just knew that one day I would just have the things, and now I do. And I'm very grateful. Isn't that what this is about, though? Like, what are you even doing this witchcraft thing for? If you can't think positively about the future, if you can't think that, the things that you truly desire will be for you, or something better. Otherwise, what are we doing? Solid here. Thank you for watching. I am Mika. This is Leap Taken. Please like this video. Subscribe if you haven't. Hit the join button to join Leap Taken membership. There are perks. Really good perks, actually. And go to my website, leaptaken.com. Check out the services that I offer there. And did you know I also had a second YouTube channel where I go further into my cottage witchery? It's more vlog style. It's called Lifestyle of the Cottage Witch. Links in the description for that too if you're interested. And as always, I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.